Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we are talking the ban list. No, I'm not talking about what I think is going to be hit on the next ban list. I'm actually talking more long-term ban list stuff. These are 5 cards that I think are, at some point down the line, going to get banned. There's an argument that like 1 or 2 of them you could argue will just get like put to 1 at some point. But I think there is a legitimate argument that all 5 of these cards could and would be banned down the line after Yu-Gi-Oh! Continues to progress. So, when you look at the ban list, there's a couple of interesting things here. You notice that, especially banned stuff, it's usually like, they almost all fall into this, a couple of different categories. Like the first one would be like an insane win condition, right? Like a crazy floodgate monster or whatever. That's more extra deck stuff, but like, just for example, you look at Shockmaster, or you know what I mean, Shockmaster, Rangami, insane win conditions. Another one would be like an insane combo enabler, like Danglong and Ib, or it could even be like an FTK type card, right? Or just something that's overall just like way too crazy, Maxi, stuff like that. So a lot of them fall into like similar categories, or you know, a couple of different categories overall, but they all kind of fit into one of those. So I've got 5 cards I think will be banned. Let's get into it. Number 1, Gigantic Spright. Keep in mind also, this list is not talking about the current format. This isn't even, and none of the stuff is even going to be super relevant for that, because I don't think any of these 5 cards will be banned on this next ban list, most likely. But even if they don't, I do think even if like tier got hit enough where it wasn't even played that much, I think down the line like there could be tier cards that get hit ancillary because, you know, just because of how good they are individually. So I think Gigantic Spright fits that mold. Like I said, some of the cards on the ban list currently are like cards that give you access to like super generic cards. So like Levolve All Chain, just sending any monsters, crazy. Gigantic Spright, kind of same thing, just summons any level 2 straight from the deck, and you can use Link 2s to make him. So that even means like it doesn't even have to be a full-on level 2 deck just to get into this guy, and then he summons any level 2 straight from the deck. It kind of restricts Konami's card design. If they wanted to make new level 2 cards that are really good, this card they have to keep in mind. Like, that's crazy. Sprite Sprint was another card that I think like kind of feels similar to this one, but I think overall Gigantic Spright has the higher ceiling going down the line, I think. But, you know, there's an argument Sprint's easier to make, so, you know, tomato, tomato. You could have thrown either on here. Moving on. Rivalry of Warlords. I think this is the most egregious continuous floodgate in the game right now, at least grand scale, and I think going forward as well. So one thing we've seen in modern day Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the development of just like engines on engines on engines. In fact, I've heard some players, really high-end competitive players, say that like this is like they think the competitive scene will just end up being 60 card decks that fit in as many possible engines as you can, that have enough synergy together, that don't, you know, block each other too much, and like flow and go from there. Well, that's the exact kind of deck that Rivalry just completely decimates by itself. Not to mention we're seeing a lot of archetypes come out that like aren't even single type based. There's so many different types in the game that, you know what I mean, like it's so hard. It's why this is way better than Gozen. So I think Rivalry ends up being the most egregious one. I think Tikaboo's also still really insane, but I think Rivalry's definitely, to me, the most egregious one. And I could see Konami going that route, continue to go that route, and say, you know what, Rivalry's just killing the route we're going with the game. It's just decimating all these cool engines we're making that we want people to splash in their decks. So let's hit Rivalry. Number 3. Tearlaments Havnis, for completely unrelated reasons to tier. Like, honestly, not even related to tier. I think generically this card could be crazy. They could ban every other card in tier. And then if this card still existed, I would be terrified, because at some point we know for a fact Konami's just going to make another crazy graveyard deck. A crazy good archetype that just everything floats when it's sent to grave. Everything like is good to be milled. And then a card like this is just insane. Like, it's a hand, like, even going second, you're milling 3 and putting a body on the field all at once. And then even, like, the fusion effect still, like, on the fact that it has the fusion effect on top of that is like, out of this world crazy. I think this is the best tier monster, in my opinion. But, you know, I think Sharon's up there, too. But I think at some point we could power creep Sharon with just, like, better and better extenders. But Havnis being a hand trap, too, is just so crazy. And we all know we're going to get another crazy graveyard deck at some point, in which case Havnis becomes crazy. So I do think Havnis down the line will be hit at some point. If it's not going to happen soon. It could happen, but I don't think it's likely. But we'll see. Number 4, I guess? Number 2? What side did I start on? I don't remember. Mannequin Cat. This card's crazy. I know some people have called for this. They're just saying that like some of the ways this card is takes advantage of some crazy floodgate monsters is really insane. We've seen some competitive players mess with this, where for specific matchups you could side specific floodgate monsters. We've seen Thunder King Raya, we've seen Testudo Arat Newman, we've seen Chaos Hunter, and that's just it. This card is able to summon pretty much any monster straight out of the deck, and go from there. And especially once you know the matchup, so you can side stuff, you know exactly what to play in, you don't have to play too many bricks, and it's insane. It's just a crazy win condition most of the time. And even if they hit stuff like Gigantic Spright down the line, I still think they won't ever hit enough, main deck stuff for Spright. And even if they do, eventually they'll release it because it'll get power crept, and then it's fine enough. In which case, at that point, like, Mannequin Cat's like always just going to be makeable. There's just enough level 2 supporting engines, and there will be more, and this card will always be makeable. So I think this card is definitely going to be ban worthy down the line. And the last card on the list here is Nadir Servant. I wanted a power spell in here. I almost went with Instant Fusion, but I think Instant Fusion could get banned right around the corner here, and for obvious reasons. And it's already at 1, so it's kind of like, kind of fits on the list already as like a card that has been hit. Whatever. We're on to Nadir. I think this card's crazy. The fact that this card is not just a 1-for-1 in searching Ecclesia, but the fact that Ecclesia is going to get you a +1, or Maximus, if you go that route, is going to get you a +1, is also insanely good. Added on the fact that you get to send any monster from your extra deck to the graveyard, which is only going to get better and better. I mean, just look at the last couple of years, whether we're talking... I mean, Intis has been around for a while, but, I mean, what could we be looking at here? We could be looking at Garura now, where this card is just engaged now, searches Ecclesia and draws a card. The restriction on this is not for the full turn, it's only after this card resolves, so you can do everything else in your deck to like start playing and then finish with this card, so you've already done all your other plays. Absolutely insane there as well. And yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. I mean, it's such a crazy card, and then from a restriction point, it's just Konami's going to have to be very weary about how good graveyard effects they're going to give extra deck monsters, because we have stuff like the Dogmatica engine, specifically Nadir as a card to push that. And then even into Maximus to get 2 more sends is like even crazier. So there's a lot going on, but it's crazy. I do expect this to be at least put to 1 at some point down the line, but banned, I would not be surprised at all if Konami wants to make more generic good graveyard extra deck monsters, which I expect them to at some point. So yeah, those are my 5 cards. 5 cards that I believe will be banned at some point down the line. Let me know your thoughts down below, not just on my 5 cards here and if you agree or disagree, but also let me know any other cards you think could have easily, ended up on this list. I'd love to hear your thoughts from that standpoint. But I'm out of here for today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff from your boy down the line, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.